What's good, folks? Flash Speaks back for another video. Couple things to talk about, man. First off, shout out to everyone who was awarded something, this today from the WNBA. From what I've heard so far, shout out to Nafisa Collier, Western Conference Player of the Month. Much deserved. Shout out to Christy Sides, who had won, was it Coach of the Week or Coach of the Month? One or the other. Might have been Coach of the Month. I think that was well deserved when you look at the turnaround that the Fever made. And then, you look at all the BS, man, she went through all year. People saying she wasn't a good coach. No basketball, knowing asses talking about, acting like they know basketball better than she does. The whole time, all she was trying to do was actually coach, coach a team, man. And now tables have turned, supposedly. Things are looking on the up and up. Fever playing well. So people now acting like they forgot about all of that, It's amazing, man. Like, when you deal with people's impatience, most people are not knowledgeable, of the game, because if you have any knowledge of the game, you should already expect, a team like the Fever to have struggled in the beginning. People jumping off the cliff and off the ledges, talking about all the players were bad, Kelsey Mitchell's bad, and all of this kind of stuff. We were ready to get rid of everybody and bring in a whole new cast, with the exception, for Caitlin Clark, and then it's crazy how things turn. You have a little bit of patience, man. Give something a chance. Interesting. Regarding some of the commentary on what I said earlier. Well, first off, there's a number of people who wanted a breakdown of last night's game, the Chicago Sky versus the Aces. And I didn't really do an official breakdown because for what? There have been many breakdowns all over the place, and I'm sure you've heard them. Mine are not going to be much different other than me stating the obvious. That without Kennedy Carter, which we already knew ahead of time, without Kennedy Carter, the leading scorer on the team, the Chicago Sky will not have a chance, especially against a team like the Aces. The Aces right now, you could tell, are turning it up a notch. For one thing, they let Jackie Young rest. That one game. They rested Kelsey Plum last night. They're looking to ramp up and to go into playoff mode up here. As they want to really be peaking and playing their best basketball once the playoffs roll around. Because, we're entering the home stretch right now. And, Chicago Sky, of course, they ran into a buzzsaw. We've seen how they look, against competent teams without Kennedy Carter. And it's no different from any other team in the league. If they were to go into a game without their leading scorer, it wouldn't look much different. People think it's funny and they want to, poop and shit on the Sky right now. And I mean, come on, man. Let's be for real. Let your team lose their best scorer, and then prior to that they lost their third best player. Who mysteriously wants out right before the trade deadline. So Chicago's in a tough spot. When it comes to winning or when it comes to playoff hopes, you know what I mean? Especially if you don't get Kennedy Carter back. Kennedy Carter back, you never know. Then you expect them to beat, the Mystics and teams on that level. Without her, I don't see it. And I really don't know if she's coming back. I have no idea. Looks like she's really, really sick from the COVID or whatever it is, So there's no point in doing that. And then too, what do you want? A video where I sit there and shit on Angel Reese when it comes to AJ Wilson? Well, what would I do that for? We all know AJ Wilson is the best player, women's basketball player in the world, and of course that includes it over Angel Reese. Of course, Angel Reese is a rookie. Learning that position, at least learning it at this level. that. I mean, and AJ Wilson is going to show everybody that. Anyone who goes up, up against her, you know. There are a lot of other things, but all at the end of the day, when it comes to that game, Chicago just doesn't have the players. The gameplay yesterday was decent. Feed the bigs. That's your best bet with that particular team. Play tough defense. Keep the pace at a minimum, even though they're not that bad when running fast. But and you have guards that lack the skill set to consistently get the ball in at a high clip. So you have all these turnovers. You're not going to win with a bunch of turnovers. And then Reese, she has certain things in her game, that she's going to have to add or going to have to just implement. Like I believe right now, if you look at this juncture of the season, playoff hopes kind of slipping, she should be looking towards, doing things that are going to make her more of a comfortable basketball player next year, like taking those jump shots. Even if you make 35% of them right now, the mid-ranges, just do it. Just do it. You're open, just shoot it. And she does sometimes, but I think she should look to do that more. And then there's other obvious things, but what is the point making a video just sitting around talking about that? With regards to some of you other commenters, let me just say this here. When you comment on the page, because I don't like I don't like blocking people. I don't like deleting people's comments and stuff like that. But and I don't mind people challenging me. That this is the deal though. This is a sports channel. This is what I want it to be. It's not a tough guy channel. It's not a channel that's there to see who's the best rooster, who can roast who better. It's none of that stuff. It's a sports channel, so I give my opinion on sports and occasionally on subjects other than that. And I look for most of the people to comments to either just say something briefly, maybe they say good video, whatever, you say bad video, whatever. But I typically look for sports points. Either comment on something about the video or make a sports point. Like guys coming on and just saying, personal attacks and all of that kind of stuff. It all depending on how I'm feeling, man. I could be in a bad mood. I just start blocking. It's not a problem to me because sometimes I'll show a person how much they're not, how important they really aren't. Like I know I'm not important. So, but some other people don't know that about themselves. And I have no problem showing them. So, but I don't want to be doing that. I don't want to be that guy. But sometimes you leave me no choice. Like if you're gonna misspell my name, spelling it with an FOOL, as to try to sneak this and all of that. I'm just gonna block you. You know what I mean? Because I don't need to read your comment. It doesn't matter to me. My life is gonna be exactly the way it is. I'm gonna sleep very well. It doesn't matter to me. So let's just have mutual respect in that way, in that regard. What else? Yeah, with regards to some of the arguments that, I'm going to do a live soon, and we're going to discuss the MVP thing, between AJ Wilson and whoever. Because I think it's ridiculous, the person that you're trying to name, because the issue you're going to run into, and this is the thing, and if we're going to debate it, I'd rather, I'll go live, and then I'll let you come on and you can say your piece. That's the way I would prefer to do it. But the problem you're going to run into is this here. The argument many of them are trying to make is that Caitlin Clark is more valuable to the Aces because she's more valuable to the Fever than AJ Wilson is to the Aces because she took the worst team in the league last year and has them in the playoffs. This is the argument, whereas AJ Wilson didn't do that. Well, yeah, AJ Wilson didn't do that because AJ Wilson was busy winning a championship. That's number one. Uh, Secondly, uh, the Fever weren't really the worst team in the league last year. That's the other thing. Um, the other problem is the Kelsey Mitchell problem. You see, you're going to have to make the argument that Caitlin Clark is more valuable to the Fever than Kelsey Mitchell. Because, like, if you're going to say someone from the Fever has to be in the MVP discussion, the problem you're going to run into is you have to prove um, in a very clear, indisputable way that Caitlin Clark does more for the team or is more valuable to the team than Kelsey Mitchell. You can even throw Leah Boston in there because out of the three of them, Caitlin Clark, though you think she produces the most offense because you're looking at assist numbers and stuff like that, Kelsey Mitchell has the higher offensive rating. Actually, so that's the thing. You have to kind of explain that. And then if you go, okay, well, they're almost scoring about the same, and then they have assists. The difference is Kelsey Mitchell scores much more efficiently. Caitlin Clark just recently got over 40%. For the season, Kelsey Mitchell's been pretty much a steady 45%. She's now, I think, over 46%, scoring. And it's been pretty much consistent. It wasn't up and down, like kind of like Caitlin Clark's scoring has been. Kelsey Mitchell is shooting better from three as well. And then before you say, well, Caitlin Clark, is getting the assist, well, Caitlin Clark plays point guard in a system that is point guard friendly. The ball movement isn't really among the highest ball movements in the league. She's playing point guard. Point guards are expected to have more assists than a shooting guard. So, like I would ask you, who's more impactful on their team? Is it Chris Paul or is it Michael Jordan? That's like saying Chris Paul is should be more worthy of MVP than like a Michael Jordan. That's like saying that. That's like saying Stockton was more valuable to the Utah Jazz than Malone because he plays point guard. You would pretty much be saying that every point guard is more valuable than every other player on their team, and that's not how that works at all. That's the problem. Pretty much one of the major problems is that you have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that Caitlin Clark is more valuable to the Fever. Forget AJ Wilson, to the Fever than Kelsey Mitchell is. Then I can throw Leah Boston in there, who's their best interior defender, who's the best rebounder. Those are the problems you kind of run into. I don't buy the idea that Caitlin Clark makes any of them better. I don't subscribe to the idea that those point guards particularly make people better. I don't, because it's both are contributing. When you do an assist, both players are contributing to the other, right? Caitlin Clark doesn't get the assist unless the player makes their shot, and you might argue the player doesn't make their shot unless Caitlin Clark gives them the ball, but she's the point guard. She's the one with the ball, so that argument doesn't convince me either. When it comes to AJ Wilson, it's not even close. Like if we were to sit here and talk stats, it's so not close. PER, defensive rating, it's really bad to try to argue that she's more impactful to the Fever than AJ Wilson is to the Aces. The Aces are, very heavily AJ Wilson dependent. And AJ Wilson, when you just look at efficiency, you're comparing 52%, from the field to about 41%. Just then defense. I mean, come on, stop it. Yeah. So let me go ahead and get up out of here. I catch y'all peeps later. Peace out.